Welcome back, everybody, to another bookshelf roast. And today, I'm gonna be roasting your shelves. Duh. And let's go ahead and jump right on into it, because you're aware of how this goes. I do have to turn down my fan, though. Otherwise, all everyone would hear would be from Andrew Maddox. Small Booktuber Shelf. This is a very Booktuber shelf. I basically went through a stage where I had almost exactly this shelf, though I had the compartmental shelves almost always, because that's what everybody has now. You'd be amazed if you go through the replies in this tweet how many people have the compartmental bookshelves. It makes me feel like I need to change mine. But getting back to yours, Andrew, you got some side stackers. You embarrassingly have a Funko Pop. Judging you a little bit there. I do love what looks like a Darth Vader fez, and a nice little shout out to Studio Ghibli. Oh, there's even a little bit of Wheel of Time in the bottom right, and some Discworld. Overall, though, this is quite solid. I'm gonna give you a B and tell you to just add a little more pizzazz. Give me some pizzazz in here, Andrew. I offer up my overflowing shelves. Very standard shelf here. This one's a little bit interesting. There's a lot of it's cluttered and it's messy. You got some stuffed dolls. I like the little reading dude. I don't know if I've seen that before. Overall, this is messy and it needs a lot of work. Though if you are literally out of shelves, which it looks like you might be because you just took a bar cart and you started throwing books in there. That does kind of make me think you're like a mobile reader who's just running around town with their little bar cart of books, just hurling them at people. If you need to get rid of some books, do that. But overall, I'm gonna give you a C because this desperately needs to be cleaned up. I mean, come on! Although I do respect the fact that apparently you have an entire shelf dedicated to indie. Most impressive. My partner and I love your shelf roasts. So we ask if you could decide whose shelves are better. First two are mine, the second two are hers. All right, the first two, I am settling who was the alpha in this marriage right now. Is the first two you said are yours. This tiny little shelf and a kind of nicer, bigger continuation of what that shelf was. Full Dresden collection, which is appropriate. Good level of knackage, some Funko Pops, but nothing too crazy. You have one of those little things you flip inside and out, little squids that like change color. People use those to like tell other people what mood they're in. I've seen those marketed, but I still do not entirely understand what those are meant to be. Let's see what the competition is. Let's see what your partner brings to the table. A much bigger shelf with, ooh, you both have meops. I love me some meops. The giant sloth is a good little accommodation. Maybe too much Legoage. I'm gonna say not, because there is books in between, though. If this was just a solid shelf of Lego, I would criticize that. I think you and your partner have both built wonderful reflections of who you are. The weakest element to both of them is the actual shelves themselves. Like if you just put in like bookshelf and an AI image generator, these shelves would be what they spit out. If I looked at these shelves in isolation, I would be like, yeah, I want these people to meet. See if they start dating. So Chris, I declare it a tie. Both of you receive a B, but buy better shelves. My only excuse is I don't have them money for a new shelf right now. I will say there are some very cheap shelves available on secondhand stores, like, you know, Facebook Marketplace is a way to go and things along those lines. But if, hey, you don't trust strangers, you don't want to do that, or build your own, I understand. I am gonna say this I don't have too much to say about. It's just an overflowing shelf, right? Like everything's on its side, it doesn't present well, it's just a wall of literature, which in some ways is kind of impressive, but it's moving on. Here though, this is nice. I like, one, the bookends. Absolutely fabulous. Are you fucking kidding me? These are glorious Dune worms. I absolutely love it. And the fact that you have all these different editions of Dune to be like just your die-hard dedicated appreciation of this, even though it's not my favorite, even of the Dune books that you have repeated here, it's just such a firm, this is what I love, and it's the collection I am celebrating. For that alone, B+. I am understanding of the lack of funds. I will ask that when you do get another appropriate shelf, you send in again. I also like there's even more Dunes in here. But overall, just because of this highlight and how much it's purely showing a dedication to getting like every edition, B+. I appreciate it. How did you get both cats in the shelf? It's a below average shelf, if I'm being perfectly honest, but having both cats in here, wait, what? I know it's a lot of blank space. We have more bookshelves than we need preemptively. Is one of those fake? Like, is this like are these both real cats? I think they're both real cats. I'm just kind of impressed that you got that. Very average shelves, wonderful pet mastery. So I'm gonna give you maybe the ability to like speak to animals as possible, but your shelves are a forgettable out of 10. Since I don't keep most of the books after reading, great habit to be in, getting ready to move into a van, wow, this is what I want to read next. New purchases and books I'm excited or think are pretty covers. Okay, I perfectly respect that. And I'm also gonna give you a lot of bonus points for donating books when you're done with them. I know it's hard to do as a book fan, but having the like control and willpower to be like, I don't need to have this book. I'm never gonna lend it to someone. I didn't love it that much. I need to let it go and let someone else maybe fall in love with it. That's a great habit to be in. Bonus points there. Love it. But a very specific display style. I think we can all agree on that. Not a lot of people do this like highlight just covers out up top. T being crooked in TBR, stylistic choice or sloppy? Leaning the first, but it comes across like the second. Overall, a very pretty little nook. And I'm guessing you're a booktuber. I don't know that for sure, although you did leave your morning breakfast out. I now know you had coffee and what looks like a bowl of nuts. So, you know, you guys, before you have your shelves put in front of tens of thousands of people, you can take 10 seconds to straighten it up. It'll get you a lot of bonus points, actually. I'm going to mark you down for that and say that this is a B-. No, B, because the donation thing's great, and it does show just a lot of self-control to have this type of book. That being said, clean up after yourself. Bob the Skull. I am very happy to review this shelf. Hope I'm not late. Fourth time's the charm. Fourth time is the charm, Bob! You piece of shit! Okay, sorry. This is a really nice shelf. I like having board games up top. I know I've given people crap for having like overtly board game shelves mixed in with their bookshelves before, but having it up top does create separation enough for me. You being Bob the Skull, I'm immediately looking for your Dresden collection. There they are, in hardback. Wow, that's hard and rare to find these days. You must really be you're a Dresden fan. I'm an idiot. This is a nice shelf. I like, you didn't too obviously put my book on display, but you still brown-nosed it a little bit. I appreciate it. I felt your little nose in there. This is a very nice shelf. It's a little bit in the average territory, but I'm gonna give it a B, mainly because for some reason I feel like I'm getting a decent amount of your personality through it, and this little glowstone down here is a wonderful highlight. You did fulfill on the promise of being a Dresden fan with a pretty hard, in my experience at least, hard to find collection of the series, and you have a good taste in board games of the two I've played that are up there, Pandemic and Civilization. So, well done. And your little shelf to the side here is kind of sad. That is an absolutely terrifying blanket of Pikachu. It's like you ripped him out of his world and have ensnared him forever in a dimension of pain, and he's pressed up against the exit, desperate to try and survive, but you won't let him leave because this is what tickles your fancy. Shelves, totally alright, but this is the absolute attention stealer, and I feel like you have a deep, dark hatred of Pikachu. Nemesis, I had to hide your reply because you had some sensitive information in the photo. I think you'd want to go delete that. I've done my best to hide it from my audience, but I need to warn you, you have put some very sensitive information in one of the photos of your shelves. No one can find it on my replies, but I recommend you go delete that tweet. Nothing incriminating or bad, just some sensitive info. Will,
I demand a re-roast.
Okay, apparently you've added cable management as well as Jade Legacy. I think I remember telling you to do that, so good. I do think this overall, despite not being filled out, is an improvement, judging by what you've said. Sorry, I don't perfectly remember. That being said, though, what is this? Is this like dark, twisted Garfield? Because the posture of this doll suggests something horrible has happened, and the cat is staring at its owner in horror. You've managed to insert some form of terrible introduction to a nightmare. I am both concerned and appreciating the artistic execution if it was intentional. It's bold, it's scary, and it's genuinely disturbing. That's the dead posture. Someone else will adopt this cat. It'll never show them the affection it did for its original owner. God, you told a story. A+. You got a dinosaur skull! And you put like a fern behind it. I'm having a hard time roasting you all this time. Bookshelves are improving. I don't know if it's because I lit a fire under some asses or what, but it's hard to roast when everyone's putting forward quality. I do not like the little... Why do you have, like, Exploration Barbie giving me, like, a Vulcan hand sign? That's upsetting and now distracting from what otherwise would be a very badass dinosaur. Oh my god, you have D&D dice in the Dinosaur Skull. Can we get married? That is the most badass thing, but it's so off-put by this little Barbie being like, I want the beach. Really good book collection, probably a hair too much knackage, the dice skull, but there's also something about this that's just slightly off-putting, because you do also just have a collection of like butterfly corpses. That's not pretty, that's a threat. So I'm going to give you a B+, and say good job. Think I want to get married or avoid you, I'm not sure which. Hurt me, Goblin Poppy. Okay, this is the most just, yes, I like fantasy, and I like everything that's popular in Fantasy Shelf. That's fine, but every single book I see is what you expect to see on a fantasy fan's shelf. Nothing jumps out as an interesting, smaller indie pick. It's all just the big old boys that the big publishers push, and that's fine, but I highly recommend you walk off the beaten path for once in your life. See, because you're average and you're bland. WWE Belt up top. I actually kind of really appreciate that. The Wheel of Time editions I didn't know had like the title bigger than anything else, and don't actually, oh, they do have the title of the book, but the series title takes up so much. That's a terrible choice in addition right there. There's far too much empty space, and I actually like that you have these kind of staggered shelves. They stand out from just the endless compartment shelves I'm seeing again and again and again here. And there's a couple interesting layout choices, but the final execution, like the picking of the breed of your tiny little rat dog, is just a bit wrong. You just don't quite have the eye to lay things out in the most appealing fashion possible. For example, there's an entire compartment to just Pikachu in a mug. I don't know why Pikachu has become the icon for this episode, but alright. It's unbalanced. I like the WWE Belt because it makes it stand out from so many other shelves I've been seeing, but the knackage, it just needs reorganizing, and this book is far too angled. I could ski down it. Oh, C-. Tell me how you really feel about these self-roasts. I'm giving you a f*** you too back. That's your rating. F*** you. Oh, look. A book pile. You can go pick up scrap wood for free and build a shelf in an afternoon. But you're not gonna do that. You're just gonna keep rewatching the same comic book movies again and again, aren't you? This is the Starbucks vanilla latte of bookshelves. We even have a smile, giggle, be silly. I just hate it. I hate this. I want to kick it and break it. My boyfriends, I get why you're dating them. This is so cozy. I'm aroused. This is just a wall of ringing books all around, and it's got a puss. I like this quite a bit. It's got some flaws, but overall, very well done. B+. I think I just don't like the color of the shelving. It's kind of draining the color from the room, but I do like pretty much everything else. Wow. I've never seen a room for shelves that is so dedicated to books and also looks so much like it came out of like a Wes Anderson film or something. It's giving me a little bit of Dolores Umbridge. So I'm not gonna say anything too harsh because I fear that motherfucker. So it's good job. No grade needed. I'm just gonna walk away from that one. Me. It stressed me out to use screws, so it's held together entirely by hopes and strings. There's no way this is real, right? This is so fucking wild. What? There's even holes where you once put screws and then chickened out, or just had string at some point and then what? I almost love this. It's like someone actually finally took my advice to just build a shelf and rolled with it and didn't have any skill, but then was so committed they made up for that lack of skill to actually put together a really working shelf. What the hell? I love this. I hate it. This is a piece of art. Like, if I saw this in an art exhibit, I would stare at it for a while if they like put a specific series of books on there to have some form of commentary. I don't know what to do with this. Is it an A or an F? It's an A through an F. I want to swing on the string. No, that's weird. Can I buy it off you? Keep it away from me. I can't. There's so many questions for what's occurring right now. You have Walmart Aragorn grinning far too happily and creepily next to what looks like a strange half-carved woman dancing naked upside down, a plethora of Funko Pops. One of them looks like a GIMP. I zoomed in, it looks even more like a GIMP. You do you, no kink shaming here. There's some definite personality. I'm confused. There's a decent collection of books. Everything's presented fine enough. Definitely too much knackage, but the level of knackage is like definitely a part of who you are. Oh, this is the same shelf at a different angle. Wow, the second angle doesn't make it clearer. I'm even more confused. Oh, is that a dragon or a GIMP? Overall, I'm impressed and scared. I'm not sure if we are soulmates or this is the person who will kill me in my sleep. I'm equally okay with both options. I'm gonna give this a sparkly mess out of 10. That's your rating. Do with that what you will. But this has just been your latest bookshelf roast. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this exact series going because you can't tell I'm kind of running out of things to roast about shelves and I want to keep it fresh and interesting. So if you can think of a different, strange, alternative approach to this series, or maybe I'm roasting some other part of the bookie fandom, let me know in the comments down below. But as of course, always, this is all just in good fun. These people are asking to be roasted, so no offense should be had. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.